Right over there in the sunny side of St Albans, if it's ever sunny at 6 o'clock on a Thursday night, yeah, in January, it's Jake waving his thumb. Evening, Jake.
Hello, Dave. Hello, everyone. Happy Monday, apparently.
Yeah. Wasn't that a group? And good evening to Lee Wood as well. You all right, Lee?
Dave, how are you, mate? You okay?
Yeah, I'm just totally confused and befuddled. Nothing unusual by the sound of it. Right, here we go with a Podful of Saints number 31 for the 21-22 season. Oh dear, not a lot of good news again. We're starting off next I'm doing well tonight, aren't I? Last Saturday, Clarence Park, 22nd of January 2021. Well, it says 2021 on the team sheet, so I'm not the only one who's losing it. Maidstone United, we went into the game, we weren't in the best of form, they were in very good form, and it looked it on the day. I thought they dominated the play up until injury time when we suddenly had a peep into their half, and they should really have wrapped up with the points, but we defended stoutly.
Yeah, I think that's not a bad summary, actually. I think after the sort of results we'd had beforehand with Chelmsford and Cheshunt and Hemel, maybe less the Chelmsford game, I thought the draw against Maidstone was actually a pretty good result on it. Performance-wise, as you say, going forward, there wasn't much. I think that's the way we set up. But defensively, as you say, I don't think we did terrible much amount wrong. And what I enjoyed about that against Maidstone defensively, we fought and battled. We were getting last-ditch blocks, we were getting last-ditch tackles, which we haven't done in recent times. So that was good to see. Again, Big Dave making a couple of big blocks. So that was good to see. But as I say, going forward, there wasn't much there until a certain Lord Banton came on.
Agree with all that, Lee?
Pretty much. I think it's the consistency that's going to kill us, isn't it? Really, Ian needed to make a change. He did so. We knew we had to dig in. We had to produce. We had to produce because if we played like anything like we did of the previous sort of 2 or 3 weeks, we're going to get turned over. I was pleased with the application and the work rate was good. But again, we should be looking at these home games. Again, why can't we transfer our earlier season form into these home games? Maidstone are a good side, fine, but they're not a great side. I just thought we were very, very negative. And it's a case of, okay, we set up shop to not lose the game. But what sort of mentality does that sort of send out to the players, especially the attacking players that we've got in our team?
It's interesting, isn't it? Because you look at City when we're defending corners now, everybody goes back. We can remember not that long ago, we'd have Junior Rice and Louis Fiofana standing on the halfway line. So the opposition had to take 3, 4 defenders out of the attack. So we could clear that ball a lot more easily. And now it's just constant, isn't it, in some respects? We even did it on Tuesday at Chippenham at a free kick. We put everybody back into the box. We're sort of encouraging sides to come on to us, aren't we?
Yeah, but Tavs, the thing is, though, mate, so bad is our form of late. Whereas before we were sort of trying to win games. Now we're trying not to lose them. That's the mentality that we've got ourselves into because our performances have been that bad. But again, the Maidstone point, it is a point in the right direction. I'm not entirely sure it's going to solve all of our immediate problems. However, it should have provided a really good platform for us going into Chippenham.
Well, Maidstone now, because they won again on Tuesday, quite emphatically. Was it 4-0 against Ebbsfleet? Both sides had a player sent off, and the Ebbsfleet manager also got dispatched. They're 12 games unbeaten, 10 unbeaten in the league. So that point, bearing in mind, I think you've also almost touched on it, really, where we've been lately, that's not a bad point.
No, it's not at all. It's a good point. And we didn't lose in front of a big crowd again. I think that was important. It was a big crowd on Saturday, about just over 1,600, I think, announced. We didn't lose. We didn't concede a sloppy goal. Michael Johnson had to make a couple of really good saves. Thought he put in a really good performance. But,
What is that for, though, mate?
Exactly. I think the only sort of two comments that I'd heard on the sort of terraces was, one, it's very obvious our change in style now. We went from some really slick football to being really quite direct at times now, which is a huge change. We touched on that. Quite a few fans, even though fans that have been just going to home games, have mentioned that, and that is obvious to those watching. But also the impact of Zane Banton again, and him coming on so late again. You know, we know Ian makes changes late, but Zane, he had, what, 10, 15 minutes? And he had a good 5-minute spell where he just started causing a lot of troubles for Maidstone. And if you bring him on 20 minutes earlier, sure, Ian was probably concerned that it might upset the balance of the team, but we know Zane works hard defensively. We know he tracks back, and going forward, he'd given up the option. So I think that, for me, on reflection, good point. Could have brought Zane on a bit earlier, created a couple of half chances. As Dave said, that, you know, in added time, suddenly we looked alive, didn't we? So, and again, a lot of that was down the left through Zane. But otherwise, good point. We can't really complain, can we?
Bearing in mind Maidstone's run, you wonder what would have happened had Luke not shot wide that early chance. He made a space for himself. Michael Johnson diving, defender diving in, but he still had half a goal to aim at, and he put it wide. So if they had got that early lead, I think you would have been a bit worried about where that one was going.
Absolutely, but you know, we rode our luck on that occasion. I mean, I don't know how he missed. From the other end, it looked impossible to. And I have to say that first 10-15 minutes, there was a lot of worried voices at the Hatfield Road end. So we survived that early pressure, and it was a good point in the end.
It was a bad miss, wasn't it? I mean, I'm not entirely sure. Would you have scored that, Jacob?
I'm not sure if I would have.
It's funny, we look at the leadership of the league, and Dartford look to be running away with it. They're slipping right back. Was it 3 straight draws now, something like that? Ebbsfleet then look to be going on. They've been hammered twice in recent games, and now it's Maidstone who are coming through. They haven't caught up with Dorking yet, because Dorking, I think it's 8 straight wins. Phenomenal run, including 8 goals against Havant. They thrashed, was it Dartford 4-0 as well? They're on a terrific run, but Maidstone, they now look to be the side that's coming through to challenge. And those two, if they keep this up, they could run away with it.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, Maidstone, they look well organised. They look strong. You know, Hakan's got them playing some decent football. And it's interesting, Ian, after the game on Saturday, talked about that's the best team he thinks they've come up against this season. Now, for me, I thought Maidstone were well organised. I didn't think they were spectacular in terms. I thought we played better teams this season, but Ian said that. I think a few of the players have, and interestingly, other managers have in the last couple of weeks. So I think Maidstone really looked like the informed team. So, you know, when we've had poor results most of the season against sides inside the top 7, and you know, not losing, I'll take that.
You mentioned the gate earlier, 1,622, which is an excellent gate for a Saturday. Maidstone had over 3,000 getting the Ebbsfleet on midweek. And you have to go back to 1970 for the last time we won a league game at home in front of a crowd of that size or more.
Poor on a Saturday.
Well, midweek as well, and chuck it in, I think. But I can check later. But it's a phenomenal statistic that's gone against us. And well, we didn't look like ending that run Saturday, really, did we? Can we take any bonus plus points from it? The fact we got the point against a side that's very much in form. They did have chances, and they maybe should have wrapped it up. But we can be encouraged, can't we, a little bit?
But that is it, though, isn't it? Because it wasn't that long ago when we were being talked about in the same veins as your Dartfords and your Dorkings, etc. That's how far we've dropped off. And to stop that rot against a very good side, it is a positive. And I know we've been hammered on socials, Jake, as well, about the negativity surrounding last week's pod. But, you know, it can't always be paella and process. You know, it's got to be the God's honest truth. And we're a very, very poor run of form at the minute. I'm not saying we've got bad players or poor players, but they're in a rut. And that point should have been the catalyst to kick us on.
It was difficult to be positive last week. And you say that would be the thing for us to kick on with that point against Maidstone. Well, anybody who was at Chippenham Town on Monday night,
Tuesday,
they're kind of. Did I say Monday again?
Yeah,
he's having an absolute shocker.
You struggle to find anything positive to say about that first half. We were negative. Everybody was back. Chippenham down the park, I thought they looked quite useful, very useful, in fact. And at their place, Hardenhuish Park, on Tuesday, they were quick and they caused us problems. And you really did feel it was only a matter of time till they got goals, and they got one early on. And I don't know how social media reported it, if you followed it on that, but there was only one team in it in that first half.
To be honest with you, Tabs, I looked at the highlights and they made us look like a bang average pub side. the spaces in the middle of the park. No, but it was one or two simple balls, and all of a sudden, all their team is advancing towards our goal. They're in the ascendancy. They've got balls to the feet. They've got space in front of them. And as you say, it was only a matter of time. To be fair, we were lucky to be getting away with a 3-1 result.
Well, on Saturday and again on Tuesday, the comments around me, predictable. Now, you two have seen it. We go across the pitch. We go backwards. We go further back. We go across the pitch. And that's the way it went in the first half Tuesday. Second half, we went back to the St Albans City the first half of the season. When we attacked, my God, we looked good on Tuesday. And for that second half, we could have got a point. But then you can look at it the other way round. If we were 3-0 up against the side, we wouldn't mind too much if they came at us in the second half.
No, absolutely. I think, Dave, I think I spoke to you briefly on text on Tuesday night, and you said, we were 3-0 down. Damage was done. There's no point second half turning up. It was 2-0, obviously it's 2-0 going into half time, but there's no point turning up second half if you're going to play like that first half. And defensively, for the 2 goals, what on earth? I mean, watching it back again, absolutely unbelievable. That second goal especially, both the centre halves just disappear. It's honestly like the parting of the Red Seas. And that's what annoys me the most, is we defend well on Saturday. Maidstone had some chances. They're a good side. But we put bodies on the line. We fought for it. We battled. Saints supporters are travelling all the way down to Chippenham on a Tuesday night, a decent number, supporting the club, getting behind the club. And the Saints defend like that for the first half. It's just ridiculous for me, especially after Saturday. It's like they've done well Saturday and they forget all the basics first half Tuesday, and the damage is done. It's just ridiculous. And that might sound harsh, and I'm sure some people will think that is harsh, but watching the highlights of that first half, I just couldn't believe what I was seeing.
To be fair though, Jake, you're a very hard man to please at the best of times. So it's, I tell you what gets me, fellas, is these after match interviews they have. You had MJ and Ian against Chippenham, and Ian looks so despondent, doesn't he? It's bereft of ideas, and you can see his frustrations with the side. MJ turned around and said that Chippenham outworked us tonight. Well, that shouldn't happen. Ian's lamenting mistakes, errors. He actually mentioned the word turmoil within the club. It's take it how it's meant, and you take it with a pinch of salt. But this is coming from a man who's been there and done it. So you can see the run is really getting to him now, and either new players need to come in to match the work, to match the workload that's being done, or you've got to look at other ways of fixing it, because games are coming thick and fast, boys. And if Ian Allinson can't fix it, then who will?
You mentioned new faces there, Lee. Been speculation for quite a few weeks. Players coming in, nothing's happened.
Yeah, but Dave, other clubs around us are signing players, mate. So it's not as though there's a lack of players. Admittedly, Ian has often gone on record and said, we want to make sure it's the right fit for the club, etc. No problem with that. Absolutely no problem with that. But the thing is, the further we fall off the pace and the more we languish in mid-table obscurity, the harder it is going to be able to obtain these players. Who's going to want to come to a mid-table side? Whereas before, when we were okay, we weren't playing particularly well, but we were still up there. We could have enticed a few more of the quality players. It's so frustrating, Taz, because we're all sitting here, we want the club to do well, and there's an obvious need, but no one seems to be addressing it. Either Ian can't get the deals over the line, or he's not given the platform to do so.
It'd be interesting to see the side we see on Saturday. What I mean, not the personnel, the way we play. Will we carry on with the second half we saw at Chippenham, which is a throwback to early in the season, or are we going to see the first half we saw at Chippenham when we were all over the shop, or Maidstone where we go on defence and hope to pinch it?
It's so hard still. It feels like we've got a Jekyll and Hyde team at the minute, doesn't it? I can't believe it myself. I mean, I have to say, the third Chippenham goal, what a strike, unbelievable. But apart from, that was probably the highlight of the night for me.
Would you have scored that, Jake?
No, don't think so.
He just watches them go past him on a Wednesday night, Lee.
But look, you're right, Dave. Like, if you turn up on Saturday, you carry that form from Tuesday night, second half, then we could easily get a good result Saturday. But that second half on Tuesday, we still lost 3-1. The players at the end, by all accounts, were despondent and really annoyed at their performance. They've got one training session Thursday night. Are they going to be able to turn up on Saturday and put in a good performance? They'll have to, because it's another big game.
Another thing for Chippenham's second half performance, they had lost 4 of their previous 5 home games, so they were quite happy to sit back after that and maybe let us come at us. So they might have had a hand in our performance as well.
Yeah, easily. Again, when you go 3-0 down, it's just so comfortable for the home side, isn't it? We've had it at Clarence Park before. We've gone 3-4 up against teams, just cruised. And, Chippenham, they had 4 academy sort of members or previous academy members in their first team squad. They haven't got anything amazing going on there, but they fought hard and deserved the result, and we can't complain. And as Lee said, and as you both said, really, and a lot of supporters have said, at the minute, you can see the season falling apart in front of our eyes, and it feels like no one at the club is really doing anything to address the obvious issues in the squad. But if we address those issues, which have been clear for a long time, the Saints still have half a chance of getting the top 7, because this division is not spectacular this season.
I just don't think we could be looking at sort of games in hand. I think that tone is now out of the equation, because we've won 1 in 5, and we can't be looking at games in hand about winning those. We can't even win the games we're playing currently, so that's got to get out of people's mindset straight away. On paper, you're looking at our squad, it's very attack-minded, and everything would suggest that we haven't got the discipline to be a defensive unit and, see out games and sort of dig in and grind it. But we did it against Maidstone. So we know the temperament is there. But again, we play our best football when we're on the front foot. We've got those players. That's how we were attacking the first half of the season. That's how we got all of the glory from our cup run, because we are utilising the players' best assets. We're using our best players in their key positions and playing to their skills. If we're having to ask them to defend, and we are taking a 0-0 draw at home as a massive positive, then something has to change in the mindset and attitude of management and players alike.
Mind you, we've said it before, Lee, that FA Cup run, that had outrageous good luck in all our 3 away games in the qualifying round.
Well, maybe we've used it all up then, Taz, because at the minute, maybe...
Well, the funny thing is, because we're not... Things going against us now, it's not bad luck. We're not getting bad luck against us. We're getting what we deserve. You could say the Chelmsford goal and the Chippenham third goal, once in a blue moon strikes, magnificent goals. But when you come back to our side and you say last 3 games, only 1 player scored for us again, and it's the same one all season. We've been on about this before. Something has got to change.
Well, I mean, we are just 3 hardcore supporters sitting in their kitchens talking about it. It's not up to us. We can't do a great deal about it other than go to the game on Saturday and support the fellas. Unfortunately, it was very interesting to hear Ian quite rightly applaud the fans that made the trip down to Chippenham on Tuesday, not Monday. And the fact of the matter is, he's asking people to get behind the side. That's fine, but you've got to give us something to sort of cheer as well. It swings and roundabouts in that aspect. So, change has got to come, fellas, and it's got to come from somewhere, and it's got to come soon.
I'm sorry, Dave. I mean, on that point, I think Ian asked for that, and I think that's good, and he's applauded the fans. But I'd say the fans throughout this season have got behind the players. I can't really think of a game really where they haven't. Maybe apart from Hemel potentially and Chesant the final 20 minutes, when it was just men against boys. But apart from that, I think most of the season, I think we've had amazing support at home, pretty good support away from home, and they've been getting behind the team. So
it's cliche, buddy. It's cliche.
Yeah.
He can't blame his players. He can't blame himself. He can't blame the board. He's got blame was the wrong word. He's got to sort of address something. He's asking for more. He's asking for more from the fans that pay the money to come in and watch the dross that we're currently being served on a week-by-week basis. Now, ask more from his players. Ask more from the board. Ask more from himself, because, if we are as a community-led, close-knit club as what we are said to believe we are, everyone's responsible. Yes, the fans will play their part, no doubt, because the fans have turned up in numbers every single week. and we've cheered every single week. Now, you know, most of us appreciate that losses come in football, no doubt. Bad performances, bad spells come in football, but there's bad spells and there's bad spells. And I think this definitely falls in the latter.
Yeah, absolutely. And on Ian again, briefly, you know, after Chelmsford spoke to Neil, he talked about how he has got money to spend. And, you know, before that, Saints fans were already getting a bit disheartened that we hadn't spent any money or strengthened the squad apart from Avan Jones. Now Ian has come out and publicly said it. I don't think it's helping at all. When you lose again at Chippenham on a Tuesday night, Saints fans, they know the money's there now. They're going to want it to be spent. Doesn't have to be splashed, but on a couple of key signings, and that's all it needs. So the pressure is rising, the pressure is increasing, and it's going to keep happening until the Saints start to turn this around.
About 20 fans went down to Chippenham on Tuesday, so well done to them. Particularly as it's a bit of a difficult journey coming back because a couple of sections of the M4 were closed for roadworks. So a nice drive through the Wiltshire and Oxfordshire countryside, which is all right in the daytime, not a lot of fun at night.
Dave, without drama on the way back, mate?
Without drama in a hire car. Thankfully.
Small goals, mate, small goals.
Small goals, not enough of them for us. One of them, Sean Jeffers, that was his 50th game for the club, or his 250th, as our Twitter probably says. And it was also a 50th game for Curran Wiltshire as well. And this coming Saturday, coming off the bench, no doubt, Mitchell Weiss, whatever you want to call him. Hello, Mitch. That's his 50th as well.
There you go.
Landmarks all around, Dave.
Why did we go to Chippenham? Why did 20 of us make that journey? 7 visits there. What we've got is 3 draws and a bunch of defeats. Why do we bother?
Because you love it.
Yeah.
You love the glory.
This coming Saturday, then, Slough Town down the park. We've already beaten them 3-2 at wherever it is they play these days, Arbour Park. A game, wow, that was a swinging fortunes, one way then the other. So sad at the moment. They've lost one of their youth players in a tragic car accident very recently. So we send our sympathies to them with that, but they are carrying on. And they're not having a great season.
No. And, you know,
Win the club.
No, you know, Ian will be targeting this, won't he? He'll know that if you don't pick up a good result on Saturday at Clarence Park, the season really is going to be floating into nothing. You know, the Saints have got to get 3 points on Saturday. You know, I think there's no doubt about that. You've got to bounce back from Chippenham. A draw isn't good enough. Maidstone flying high, doing well. Would a draw against Slough please a lot of supporters? I don't think so, to be honest. And maybe we are being harsh. Maybe we have expectations too high. But this season started off like it did, and the Saints have got to bounce back and they've got to win. And, you know, I'm sure it'll be a decent crowd again on Saturday. How long has it been since we won at home? It's been quite a little while now. That, you know, people want to see wins.
You didn't have a beard last time we won at home, Joe, I'm sure.
we put out on Twitter any questions tonight, and we had a certain Peter Risley asking if he should bring his boots. So that's
all day long. You say that, Jake, that, you know, people think we're being harsh, but we can only respond to what is being served up to us. You know, it's a case of that. I'm optimistic for Saturday. I truly am, because when we have such a despondent result and an atrocious result because we did, you know, Ian's sides always do sort of kick in and they always do respond to a certain level. Slough aren't the greatest side in the world, but we've got some good players, and I think if we can play to our strengths and worry about our team as opposed to sort of, you know, how many points we're going to pick up, just play the game of football, utilise our players' skills, and then hopefully come 10-5 or whatever it is, we should be celebrating 3 points.
Well, Slough's last couple of games in the league, I haven't had many this month actually, was that one game which Chippenham won at home the other week, minus 6-1 win for Chippenham. And the last one was a 1-1 draw at home to Ellacott Town. So they're not in good form. And if we turn out like we did the second half at Chippenham, I think we can all be optimistic.
Yeah, absolutely. But the crazy thing is, this division is so tight. They're only 4 points behind us. You know, Slough win on Saturday, got a lot of issues. But as Lee said, we've got to go in this optimistic. forget about the last couple of games, or forget about Chippenham. Maidstone, we took positives from that. Forget about Chippenham Tuesday night. Take the positives from that second half. Will the Saints bring in a couple of players maybe tomorrow? Who knows? We'll see. But, take positives. Hopefully it'll be a positive crowd, everyone getting behind the Saints. But the players have got to turn up. They've got to turn up. They've got to, it's a cliche, but they've got to fight for the 3 points on Saturday. Battle for it. They did it against Maidstone for a point. Got to do the same against Slough on Saturday. And I would like to see, might be biased, but I'd like to see Zane Banton start. I thought he probably did enough against Maidstone. Like to see him come back into the side.
Dave, can I ask you a quick question, mate? We are harping on about getting in some new blood and some new faces. Given the fact that this current squad are the ones that got us into this heightened position in the first place pre-Christmas, are we reading too much into the fact and giving too much value into the aspect of getting some new players in? Would you like to is it just a simple fix of letting the players play and having a lot of faith in the current squad?
How long do you stick with them? That's the thing. This bad run's been going on since what? December, early December? Well, since the FA Cup defeat, really. Yeah. Finding good performances since then have been pretty thin on the ground, haven't they? Ian, he should bring some in. That squad does need strengthening. You look on the bench when we're chasing a game and you think, right, we're going to stick a couple of wide men on. We can't stick a goal scorer on.
No, I mean, that is the only thing, isn't it? We have no solid plan B, do we, in terms of scoring goals, which is going to win us games ultimately. And there's only so much credit in the bank that some of these players can have from their previous sort of results. So, Ian's a very loyal man in terms of his troops, and quite rightly so, because they've done fantastically well. But even the reserves need replenishing over the course of time, and some new blood and some new faces can only benefit the side and the second half of the season, surely.
Yeah, I think what you mentioned about crowd, what can we expect on Saturday? I hope it'll still be a decent crowd, but it was interesting, the crowd against Maidstone last week, where most of the stewards were actually in front of our fans, which was in response to what happened against Cheshunt when a couple of bottles were thrown onto the pitch. And I hope the idiots are never seen down the park again. But you also hope the stewards not just stopping that, but also doing something about the language, which isn't the best at times down the park.
Yeah, it happened. I think it happened mostly against Cheshunt again, didn't it? What made Maidstone wasn't too much of it, thankfully. They've put out statements previously. We know it's the kids doing it, don't we? We know what we're doing, so hopefully it does stop. But it'll be interesting to see how many of them turn out on Saturday. Not a great result Tuesday, decent result against Maidstone, but will they be turning out for the Saints? And we talked about this a few months ago, when the Saints gets to middle of January, weather isn't amazing, Saints might be on a bit of a slip in form. Will the crowds hold steady? And I mean, Maidstone, how many did they bring? 300, Dave? Probably about that?
A decent number, yeah.
Yeah, 300-400. So you're still looking at a decent Saints support there. But yeah. But anyway, on Saturday, if they do go, be positive. Don't, not any of that nonsense. And just
but fellas, it's the nature of the beast.
Yeah.
You have spent all off season and the previous 4 months appealing to the younger demographic. And with that comes that sort of language. It's, it shouldn't come as a surprise to anyone there. It is frustrating and it's very unsavoury and unnecessary. However, you've got large groups of boys, they've just done their maths homework. They're great. They've got the full of the joys of spring. Off they go. They're in a group. It's a mob mentality. One bloke says something stupid, gets a cheap laugh, and off he goes again. That's just what happens. But the stewards are there. Do your job.
They don't do anything for the bad language, Lee, as we know. But bad language, I think we can all take to a degree. We shouldn't have to, but we take it. What I think a lot of us object to is when a goalkeeper standing there and he's consistently having a word shouted at him, beginning with P, which has got no place on the terraces at Clarence Park.
Yeah,
and that's what the stewards should be clamping down on.
Cannot agree more.
I totally agree. Especially when the club's striven to be part of the community and it wants LGBT people to be there on the terraces.
tick box exercise for them, Jacob. Come on, mate. Come on.
I know, but
ridiculous.
But the Saints have got to crack down on it, haven't they? It's not
not
just P word.
It's when they call the goalkeeper fat. I mean, he's like the thinnest bloke on the entire pitch. If he's fat, then there's there's no chance for us boys because it's ridiculous.
But previous games, it's not just a P word. They've used homophobic slurs, etc. It's just not acceptable at all, is it?
Hopefully, this time next week, we're talking about a cracking game of football between two teams in blue and yellow.
That's the thing,
One should be in gold.
Win on Saturday, you haven't got a game on Tuesday, and suddenly things are looking a little bit brighter. Now,
Dave, what day are we playing, Dave?
I don't know. Give me a ring before kick-off, and I'll try and get there. Just let me know then.
we had another tweet asking, given that they're not investing in the squad at the minute, should they invest in the tannoy system specifically to annoy Dave? So people are latching onto that, Dave.
They could invest in a podcast as well. You know what I mean? So
it's the horrible noise when we score a goal. So thankfully that doesn't happen too often these days. There's just no need for it at our games. To me, our fans have paid $16.50. Their fans have paid $16.50. Treat them both with equal respect. Like Bath City do it extremely well.
Right. Well, there we go. That was a public service announcement from Mr. D. Tavener.
Right, we've got predictions for Saturday.
3-0.
Very good. In that order?
Oh.
Sure.
Flipping heck. I'm going to go 3-1 Saints.
There we go. It's positive in the extreme.
I had a friend ask me, where would the Saints... Oh, yeah, whatever. Where would the Saints be in the table based upon our weekly predictions? And I think it's about 15 points clear.
We've been Champions League by now. Actually, I want to quickly chuck something in. It's totally irrelevant. I bumped into a bloke called Steve Giorgio today, Lee, who you know.
Absolutely, yes.
And he's a City fan, and his son Stan Giorgio plays for Hitchin Town, played against us the other day, and he had a decent game. I remember one excellent ball he put over our defence, and he showed me a picture when we were always at Egham in the FA Cup. You know the one I mean. And young Stan there, looking very young in his away City kit, celebrating with the rest of the boys as we made progress in the FA Cup.
So Steve showed me that exact picture when we played Hitchin last Tuesday, and it made me feel so bloody old. Because I remember Stan coming in, and he was 12 then. He came into the club shop when I was allowed to sort of, have some sort of club shop influence. And he came in, spent all his pocket money. He was so, he was really, really young and enthusiastic. And now he's 17. I'm like, no, that can't be him. He's like, yeah, he's 17. I'm like, oh my God, it makes me feel so old. But also really, really pleased for him, because to get in that Hitchin side, Mark Burke is a very sort of focus-driven, defensive-minded man. And to get in that side and to stay in that side as well, with all the players that they've got at their disposal, absolutely amazing. He's going to be a cracking young player. Really is.
Yeah, Mark Burke's gone for a young side again. He had one a few years ago, and it looks like this one is now starting to pick up after a dreadful season up till recently. So
agree.
Good luck to them.
See, that's
good luck to us on Saturday as well.
That's the sort of good memories you want young City fans to be making, isn't it? So
to go and play for Hitchin against City. Christ almighty. I mean, that's just
oh, dear.
It's all about the process, Jacob. It's all about the process.
Process or results driven?
Well, yeah. Well, I like a little bit of both. Anyway.
Oh, God, is that us finished again?
I think so.
Oh.
We can't put any more negativity on the whole game, because it's, we've got to be positive. Although we've got tabs, we've got to be positive, focus driven, 3 points, off we go. Come on.
We are also open to anybody from the club who wants to come on here at any time. We won't give them a hard time. They can say their piece. We slag them off when they're gone. But they'd be more than welcome to come on here, and it'd be great.
The views of Mr. D. Tavener are not reflective of Mr. J. Ellacott or Elwood.
And I'm reflected in my own league.
I think, given our recent form, I think we've found more than enough positives this week, I think, considering. So, I think we should be applauded, to be honest with you.
We tried. We got hammered last week. We got absolutely hammered. Speaking of which, if you want to get in touch, Jacob, do you want to give them the Twitter handle, my friend?
It's at a pod full of saints, and the email as well in the description.
They've been fun, haven't they? They've been fun.
Oh,
Choice. Talk about language, Taz. Hell, mate, you want to get hold of the email? Jesus Christ.
It's not down to us. It's down to the players on the pitch now. They've got to perform. Oh,
right.
Dear. Brilliant. Well, thank you very much, everyone, as always. And we'll see you again next week for more fun and games.
Yep. See you all down the park Saturday.
Bye, everyone.